This is 5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
Right now at 4, a former Florissant police officer now faces a third lawsuit. He's accused of stealing intimate photos from women's phones during traffic stops. Thanks for being here. I'm Kay Quinn. Brent Solomon is on assignment. Lawyers tell 5 on your side there are at least 12 victims. 5 on your side's Megan Kernan has closely followed this story since the lawsuit was filed. She joins us live outside the Florissant Police Department with more. Megan?
Okay, this third lawsuit was filed in federal court on Tuesday, and it named the officer for the first time. But he has not been criminally charged yet, so we won't be releasing his name. The victim in this new lawsuit is now the fourth woman to come forward to 5 on your side. In the new suit, the victim in her early 20s claims the former officer pulled her over twice this year for broken taillights. She says he took her phone back to his cruiser, found nude photos on her phone, took pictures of them with his phone, and then shared the photos with others. The lawsuit said the woman did not know she was victimized until the FBI contacted her several months later. 2 other women have come forward with very similar stories and filed lawsuits. Lawyers for the latest victim believe there are more victims out there.
She's traumatized. I mean, every time she's driving down the road and sees a police car behind her, she panics. It really has affected her, and just deplorable conduct.
It's a tragedy that an officer would take advantage of that.
We reached out to the Florissant Police Department, who says they do not have a comment. Meanwhile, the Missouri Department of Public Safety says the former officer has permanently surrendered his officer license. Reporting live in Florissant, Megan Kernan, 5 on your side.
Thank you, Megan. Developing today, a jury convicts a man in a Madison County murder trial. Hours ago, the jury found Roger Sutton Jr. guilty of first-degree murder and concealment of a homicidal death in connection with the 2013 disappearance of Patrinia Butler Turner. Yesterday, Sutton's nephew testified that he saw his uncle kill Butler Turner and then helped him conceal her body. Sutton is facing up to 60 years on the murder charge. Tonight at 5, hear from Butler Turner's children about today's verdict. Developing today, the death of a soldier at Fort Leonard Wood is now being investigated as a homicide. Hours ago, Army officials revealed Sergeant Sarah Roke's body was found in a dumpster near base housing. The 23-year-old didn't report for duty Monday. Officials say a person of interest is now in custody.
The Fort Leonard Wood community is devastated by this tragic loss. Sarah was a soldier and a leader in the 5th Engineer Battalion, described by her peers as tough and proud of everything she did, and proud to serve our country, which she did with honor and distinction.
Roke was an Indiana native who enlisted in 2020 and attended basic training at Fort Leonard Wood. She received several awards and decorations, including the National Defense Service Medal and the Army Service Ribbon. Right now, a rideshare driver is recovering after he was shot during an attempted carjacking in downtown St. Louis. Police say around 7:15 last night, the victim met up with 2 acquaintances at 7th and Market Streets. 2 men in a Hyundai Elantra then pulled up next to them. One man got out and tried to take an acquaintance's car. During a struggle, a shot was fired. The victim was rushed to the hospital for treatment. The suspects took off in their vehicle. If you have any information, call St. Louis Police or Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. The man accused of murdering his girlfriend has been arrested. St. Louis police say Xavion Mills was taken into custody last night in Wentzville. They say he killed Kaya Holt Biggs Saturday in an empty lot on Switzer Avenue and then set her body on fire. Mills is charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Hours ago, a groundbreaking ceremony was held for a new 911 dispatch center in St. Louis. The facility is located on Thomas Street near the St. Louis Fire Department headquarters. For the first time, the facility will house police, fire, and EMS dispatchers under one roof. Our Justina Coronel will have much more on the new dispatch center tonight on 5 on Your Side at 5 and 6. Now to the race for the White House. Both campaigns pulling out all the stops as they seek to drive more supporters to the polls. Vice President Harris bringing out political heavy hitters and superstar entertainers, while former President Trump focuses on the issues that helped get him elected 8 years ago. NBC's Bree Jackson reports from Washington.
Closing arguments coming into focus in the closing weeks of the presidential race.
Our country deserves to have a president of the United States who is not afraid of good ideas and does not stand on pride.
We are going to have the biggest victory in the history of our country on November 5th.
Throughout his campaign, former President Trump has made immigration a key issue. His plans include resuming construction of the border wall and reinstating a policy which forces asylum seekers to remain in Mexico while awaiting court dates.
We will stop illegal immigration once and for all. It will be ended.
As campaigning winds down, Vice President Harris's warnings are growing stronger.
What we must understand will happen starting on January 20th in this choice. Either you have the choice of a Donald Trump who will sit in the Oval Office, stewing, plotting revenge, retribution, writing out his enemies list.
Harris taking her message a step further with plans to deliver her closing argument on the National Mall Tuesday from the same area where Mr. Trump gave his speech on January 6th ahead of the attack at the U.S. Capitol.
And we're going to the Capitol.
The Harris campaign also rolling out a series of concerts, including a scheduled appearance in Texas with Beyonce, whose song Freedom has become the campaign's anthem. Mr. Trump will also be in the Lone Star State Friday, doing an interview with podcasting giant Joe Rogan. Both candidates relying on star power to get out the vote as the race remains neck and neck. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
It is day 3 of early voting in Missouri. St. Charles County seeing extremely long lines of voters waiting to cast their ballots. Earlier today, the St. Charles County Election Authority held a public testing of its machines. 2 voters, one Democrat, one Republican, were selected to place their votes to prove the machines accurately count every vote. Election officials say voter fraud is unlikely with their voting machines.
As the voter is putting their ballot into these machines, it is counting their ballot at that time. That information is stored on a thumb drive inside the machine, which is then brought to the election authority election night, and then that is then inserted into our air-gapped laptop that we tabulate the full results for the entire county.
St. Charles County election officials expect to see a large turnout of voters this election season, with many choosing to vote early. Some voters say it took them an hour to vote from start to finish today. We have a voter guide for you on KSDK.com. For a link, text the word guide to 314-425-5355.